I met Nastya through mutual friends and felt an instant connection with her. It became apparent to me that she had a close relationship with her mom, which I found to be a positive aspect considering my own experience of losing my parents at a young age. However, my initial impression was proven wrong. After dating for about a month, Nastya invited me to her home to meet her mom. I was excited and hoped to make a good impression. Knowing that Nastya's parents were divorced and her mom raised her alone, I arrived with a bouquet of flowers. Nastya opened the door, and we made our way to the kitchen where dinner was waiting. I greeted her mom warmly, presenting the bouquet, and expressed my pleasure in meeting her. In response, her mom, Evgeny Nikolaevna, replied coldly, glancing at the bouquet sarcastically. I was taken aback, but dismissed it as a misunderstanding, or perhaps a prejudice against me. As time went on, I attempted to win her mom over, but it was evident that she remained against me. Eventually, I realized that it was important to stay true to myself and let things unfold organically. When I asked Nastya about her mom's disapproval, she explained that her mom had a difficult personality and interacted similarly with everyone. However, it became clear that this wasn't entirely accurate, as she spoke of Volodya, her best friend's son, in a positive light and would often compare me to him with a smile. One day, I reached a breaking point and couldn't help but say, "I'm sorry, I'm not Volodya." In response, her mom raised her tone, creating tension between us. This triggered an open conflict between me and her mom, whom I nicknamed Xenia. It seemed like she had been waiting for an opportunity to criticize me directly to Nastya by highlighting my flaws, at least according to her perspective. In her eyes, there were plenty of them. In general, he possessed his share of imperfections, unlike Volodya, who seemed faultless. Every encounter we had seemed to ignite a disagreement, as my every utterance was considered heretical. Nastya's mother grated on my nerves, while Nastya excused it all as her mother's challenging disposition. It became evident that their bond wasn't a close one. It appeared more like a daughter tethered to her mother's will. One day, I planned to pick up my girlfriend for a movie date. Late autumn was upon us, yet the days retained a surprising warmth. Nastya donned her coat, and our departure was imminent. Just as we were about to leave, her mother emerged from the room, saying, "Xenia, where are you both headed without a hat?" Nastya replied, "Mom, it's warm outside." Her mother retorted, "Put on a hat. The weather can turn chilly after the movie, and then you'll have to trek home alone. Your boyfriend here hasn't earned enough for a car." This comment prompted me to respond, "And good evening to you, Yevgenia Nikolaevna. Do you not trust your daughter to decide whether she should wear a hat?" Nastya chimed in, supporting my point. This simple matter of a hat unexpectedly triggered her mother, setting off a stormy altercation. The impending movie date lost its appeal amidst the commotion, so Nastya and I opted for a casual stroll instead. During this time, Nastya confided in me that her mother's controlling tendencies stifled her independence. In response, I suggested Nastya move in with me, hoping to shield us from external interference. Nastya agreed, and I naively believed her decision marked a turning point. However, the reality proved different. While Nastya moved in, her mother's influence persisted. In the aftermath of a particular conflict, mother and daughter reconciled, and the saintly facade of Evgenia Nikolaevna returned. Meanwhile, I found myself labeled a villain, someone reluctant to engage with my fiance's mother. Our relationship was marred by daily disputes. Nastya's phone would ring incessantly, with her mother dictating household matters and delineating the responsibilities of a man, each call invariably exposing my alleged inadequacies. In response to one of Nastya's reproaches following a conversation with her mother, I quipped, "Indeed, a woman who's lived over 2 decades without a partner undoubtedly possesses all the wisdom." The tension escalated as I continued, "Blaming her for everything, including your father's absence, is misguided. Your failures aren't a result of her actions. you tend to attribute all your missteps to her. Nastya countered, your criticism never ceases. You have no respect for my mother, nor for me. I harbored the belief that with a few days' distance, we could mend things through conversation. Regrettably, Nastya remained silent, not reaching out as anticipated. I became aware that Mama Zhenya had been actively turning her daughter against me, but I felt compelled to reach out to Evgenia Nikolaevna in an attempt to reconnect with her daughter. When I called, she answered right away, saying, "Sasha, please give it a rest. You're not a bad guy, but you and Nastenka aren't a good match. She has found someone wonderful now, Volodya. I've been telling them for a while that they are perfect for each other. As a mother, I can sense these things." I was taken aback and asked, "How is that possible? We only separated a week ago." Mama Zhenya sighed and replied, "Oh, I didn't want to upset you, but they started dating while you were still together. Nastya just couldn't bring herself to tell you." I couldn't make sense of it and abruptly ended the call, convinced that this was just another scheme to break us apart. In frustration, I followed Nastya outside and immediately confronted her about what her mother had revealed. Nastya looked down, admitting, "Sasha, it's true. We were constantly fighting, and then Volodya invited me to the movies. I hesitated, but my mother told me it was just a friendly outing with a childhood friend. I angrily exclaimed, 'Your own mother told you. You're such a fool,' and with that, I walked away. Unfortunately, we never crossed paths again. Through mutual friends, I later learned that Nastya and Volodya got married and had a child. However, their seemingly perfect relationship didn't last, as Volodya left Nastya for someone else, leaving her alone with their child. Her mother blamed her, constantly reminding her of what she had lost and labeling her as a terrible mother. This took a toll on Nastya, plunging her into depression. Eventually, she sought help from a psychologist and realized that her mother, a divorced woman with no personal life of her own, had been the source of the destructive advice that had shaped her life. Nastya understood that she couldn't live her life fully as long as her mother was involved. She made the difficult decision to distance herself from her mother, taking her child and leaving. She cut off all contact, leaving Evgenia Nikolaevna alone. However, it is unlikely that her mother has reassessed her actions or learned any lessons from this experience.